Please identify a federal department or program that you would cut or restructure in order to save taxpayers money and/or eliminate duplication of services, and explain why. If there are no federal programs you can identify as possible areas for savings, please explain that response.
Well, thank you. I like that question a lot. I'd like to start with the Department of Education. I'd like to eliminate the Department of Education and bring education back to where it should be, our communities and our states. You see, when we reduce the money being taken by the federal government, and we allow the communities and states to make their own decisions, they will educate our children better, as is evidenced by our education system pre-Department of Education. We were #1 in the world, folks. Now we're slipping terribly. And the Department of Education, their mandate was to improve education and make it fair for all. They've done a poor job and they need to be eliminated. And as I've stated earlier, every regulatory agency needs to be audited by Congress, many of them eliminated, and most need to be trimmed down to the bare bones that they were actually intended to start with. That would include the Department of Energy. Again, their mandate to decrease our dependence on foreign oil. How's that one working out for us? I would say eliminate that, except that they have control over nuclear weapons right now, and that should be moved, and that's another department that should be done away with. We have a lot to trim. Our federal government is a bloated government. It has become a parasite that is sucking the economic life out of our country, and it needs to be stopped.
Thank you, Mr. Gunn. Mr. Olver, you have 1.5 minutes.
Well, I'm going to defend the Department of Education. That's one of the last ones that I would cut in the federal system. #1, we provide financial aid to students all over the country to go to college because it is a good investment to train and educate our young people so that they will be able to make a better life for themselves, earn higher salaries, pay tax monies into the revenue so that their children can have some of the same good life. The Education Department also distributes a sizable amount of money to poorer communities in distributing, making equal educational opportunity for kids, whether they live in poor communities or in relatively rich communities and have lots of money and can tax themselves through the property tax. That is an important thing for us to make certain in both of those areas that it continues. If I were to cut, it wouldn't be a whole department. I can't think of a whole department that I would quickly want to cut out. But I would save a significant amount of money out of withdrawing our tentacles out in our world footprint on the military side. We don't need to be in so many places all over the world. We have so many bases. I was the senior Democrat on the Military Construction Committee, and you can see those bases.
And our last speaker with regard to the final question is Mr. Engel. You have 1 minute.
The federal budget is $3.5 trillion. The deficit is $1.3 trillion. You could eliminate Social Security and the Department of Defense and still not make up the deficit. I'm obviously not in favor of abolishing regulatory agencies wholesale, even though I'm dissatisfied particularly with the Department of Education. We need, as I said before, to reduce military spending. We need to find a more rational way of controlling healthcare costs to deal with the rapidly expanding costs of Medicare and Medicaid. Obamacare is not that program. We need to, if we have regulatory agencies, we need them, we have to find a way of rationally organizing them so that they don't waste money. I don't think that's such a hard thing to do. I think the federal government does have some role in helping us with the environment, particularly constructing schools in the Department of Education. We have to preserve those purposes, and we can't do that by simply abolishing agencies wholesale.